I definitely wanted to make sure I shouted out my dad here too, because I'm very grateful to him as well for being a huge part of this journey, because he's been supportive at every juncture. We're talking a guy that's come to every tournament I've ever had that I told him about. He showed up, and just been, you know, parent is like very much like a teacher, right? Like someone that you can continue to learn from. A parent is a person, but they also are committed themselves. I think in the best ones, they're committed to not stopping their learning process and being able to teach you. And my father's been able to teach me even up until recently. So it's been nice, even though I feel like I know, you know, how to navigate this or navigate that. It's still nice to know that, you know, he's got more experience than I do, and then I can be a student sometimes. It's nice to switch the role from being a teacher all the time in many different environments, including amongst friends, to being a student with someone like him, who I think is probably my favorite teacher. He's been very, 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 very instrumental in how I learned, not what I've learned, but how I've learned it. How to take a bad experience and turn it into an opportunity, and not to defeat myself to get bogged down by failure. It's a guy that's like, you know, been scheduled. So I wanted to make sure I had a certain segment of this to shout him out, because I mean, a lot of us are here, and I'm probably the first guy to tell you I'm not self-made. At this point, I've seen how much I am a product of everybody that's around me, right? Like how much, you know, Master Michael Chansey, who I've known for 20 plus years, another great martial artist, has been, you know, I've gotten a lot of recognition, and, you know, without him getting recognition, I felt some kind of way. I've always mentioned, hey, I couldn't have run any of these awesome summer camps that we've done for the past 10 years without that guy, because I would have not been able to handle all the kids I had and be able to do this without this man covering this and doing that. You just have to give people their credit. You do that a lot here. I love that. You know, you reach back in your own experiences and think about, and make your guests think about, where did you come from to arrive where you are right now? You didn't just drop out of the sky and be excellent. There's something that happened along the way. Yeah, I just wanted to give my dad a big shout out.
Let me add to this, because this will definitely be part of something we'll, you know, compact with regards to family. So I used to bowl for about 18 years, like in bowling leagues. So I've bowled in tournaments across New Jersey.
Nice.
I've you know, done it all, right? I've had my share of perfect games, such as 12 strikes in a row, 300s.
Nice.
I've had my share of 800 series as well, and I've won a all events tournament for county in Morse County, the Morse County tournament. But having my father there, who used to bowl, and his father used to bowl, right? There was a sense of calm. There was a sense of gratitude. There was a sense of, I want to show up and be my best without feeling the extra pressure, but just be my best, right? So when I look at all my achievements, one of the greatest achievements I've had was a tournament 300 with my father there.
That's amazing.
And I remember when people, if someone's not a bowler, it's like saying, if you're a baseball pitcher, you say, hey, Dad, don't attend the first 162 games of the baseball season, but in the playoffs, show up for the playoffs and I'll throw a perfect game for you, right? You just don't do that, right? So like, to me, I always told my father, I said, before it's all said and done, and he wasn't coming to my leagues all the time. He used to, but he would only come to my tournaments. Right. And there were only so many of those per year. I said, I want to throw a perfect game while you're there and present. Right. I would tell him, I said, I want to do that. You know, before it's all said and done, I stop bowling. I want to throw a perfect game for you and the Stevens family name, because my father never threw one. His father never threw one. So I was the first one of the Stevens family to do it. And I did it in game one of a tournament, and I ended up being like the number one seed. And it was like this thing. But regardless of the accomplishment, right? We talked like, all right, put the accomplishment aside. Regardless of the 300, it meant the most to me because he was present. That was it. I didn't need anything else. I didn't win that tournament. I lost in the finals. Right. Like that day wasn't about winning or losing. That day was being able to give my father a hug and say, hey, this is for the Stevens family.
A lot of weight. It's like when people say your name 20 years from now, when you're dead, what are they going to say? I'm worried about that. What are they going to say? What was your impact? You know,
Yes.
I always tell my father, your name is a great name. I'm going to make sure it's going to continue that way. How big it's going to get, I don't know. But you know, I know when people say last name, they're going to think good things about you and the things that you've done. You know, and the impression that you've left on me. I mean, because fathers command that. Not that mothers don't.
Yes.
You know, shout out to all the moms, but there's something about a relationship between the son and their father, especially when the father is present, that commands that virility, that excellence, that you want to just give it everything you got. You want to go out on your shield, regardless of what it is. You know, it doesn't have to be a physical engagement, but you know, you want to give it your best because you feel like, well, my father has showed me, you know, he shows up and he does what he's supposed to do, and I'm supposed to show up, and you try to match that level. And
Yes.
I spent time trying to do that. I think I've seen boys do it, and as a father now, which is probably the best role I have, it's not about I'm very stoic looking, so you know I don't necessarily look like the rainbow guy. I'm not the PTA dad. I'm there if you tell me to be there. I make it. You know, I make it however I need to make it. Whether I'm oftentimes in a uniform half the time, so you know in these pictures I'm showing up to kid stuff with a belt on or you know a jacket. But you know someone told me, and it was an example I watched, which I wanted to relate to you as one of the last things, kind of to pull off that point with your father. Was that I was also taught to be a father by one of my martial arts instructors, Master Mar. And it's crazy how everything he said, everything he told me has come true. Literally, in the order, like this is going to happen, and not just from living a life. It was like things specific to me. So it's like, this is going to happen. When this happens, you need to do this. When you have kids, you better be there. You better do this. And I used to watch this man like bounce from classes. I used to teach class while he, you know, took off. He would ask me like, you know, hey, can I go to my kid? I'm like, get the hell out of here for sure. Go. You know, like it's never a problem because I never wanted him to miss that time with his family. He had given us so much of his time every day, his life. He's like, yo, go for sure, do that. And now I'm doing that, you know. So it's, you know, I just throw on a pair of shoes and a coat and I'm there because he said it's not going to be about what you wore. It's going to be about whether you were there or not. That's what they're going to remember, whether you missed it or whether you didn't miss it.
Yes.
So it doesn't matter what you were wearing. You know, I sat at my grandmother's dinner table 2 weeks ago in this uniform because I was teaching a moment before I had to get in the car. And I was like, well, it's going to matter. You know, I'm not going to, when I look back when she's gone at some point, it's not going to be about what I was wearing. It's going to be about whether I had that time with her and made it possible or make excuses, but you can't do both. Yes. So I tell people that here all the time as students, you can make it possible or you can make excuses, but there is no middle ground because everyone likes to operate in the middle to be the safe and operate in that safe space. You're not going to be safe doing anything. You being alive is taking a risk. You driving is taking a risk. You living in your house is taking a risk. You're taking a risk all day. They're calculated risks. So that's something I was able to pull out of what you said. That was a great point about your father. So shout out to Mr. Stevens out there.
I appreciate it.